I'm very pro your ambitions to go to the WWE because let's face it, jiu-jitsu people, sometimes they're boring. But I think there's something in you. I think you've got some talent, some charisma. And it begs the question, if I were to give you an opportunity to cut a promo on me right now, would you be able to do it? Your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. Is it Verbal Tap? It's hard to tell these days. Sometimes they're doing one show and then all of a sudden I'm doing another. You can tell this one's Grappling Hour because it's just me. If it's me and Kevin, Verbal Tap. Anyway, that's not important. What am I here to talk to you guys about today? Well, we have a great guest. We're going to get to him in a second. But one thing that you should know is if you're not a member of our Grappling Hour High page, I ask you to go to that right now. So it's high.page/Grappling Hour. But Raph, why do I go there? Well, one, not only can you get early access to my interviews before anybody else, 30 days. You may know stuff that other people won't even find out for another month. And a lot of shit happens month to month. If you read any of the news, things change very quickly in a month. Just saying. A month ago, Travis Barker, nobody was worried about him. Now, I'm very worried about him. I hope he's okay. All right, not important. Let's go into what you guys want to know, which is doing that, yes. Do that one, early access. The other one, premium. You get to see special segments like a mini-series on guests saying who they respected the most as an opponent. Tape study, which is one of my favorite segments because I love doing tape studies with the athletes on some of their favorite matches. We just did one with Ethan Krellenston on his win over Nathan Orchard. We did one with Joe Selecki over his last win in the UFC. We did one with Gabe Green, friend of the show, who's fighting in the UFC this weekend. But by the time you see this, it's already done. All right, the guest today. First of all, this kid is too jacked. We should say, no, he's posing. He can't understand that nobody can see him right now. I can see him in my preview window. You cannot. And you know what? I feel it's even funnier to keep talking about that. Number two, his reputation precedes himself. Why? Well, he's been putting in great work. And in theory, this dude is what, a purple belt right now? Does not roll like a purple belt. I'll tell you this. I've watched his work. No, you brown belt now? Did they give you a brown belt? Okay, he's gesturing to me, even though I'm not talking to him. We'll get clarification on all of this. But he just won the Sogi Invitational, which now assures him a spot in the upcoming Sapateiro Invitational, which I'm very excited about. And if you guys haven't looked to see how stacked this bracket is, please go look at it. It is incredible. Josh LeDuc has put together a monster bracket, and I'm very excited to see that one, if not live in person. But I guess what I got to tell you is this. Before I even get to talking about why he's so good, we always start off our episodes addressing beef. This young man was supposed to do a WWE BJJ video for us and yet could not. So before we get to any of the compliments on saying what a beast he is, how great he is at jiu-jitsu, or how even, affable, and likable this guy is, my question to you, Steve Joachim, is where the hell is your WWE BJJ video, sir?
So, I'm not creative at all. And so I was down to do it. You sent me the nice text. You went, hey, we got this little WWE BJJ thing. And I watch WWE more than I watch Jiu-Jitsu. Honestly, Jiu-Jitsu is really boring. So I kind of was like, yeah, let's do it. And then you sent me the videos of other people doing them. Every single idea I had was horrible. So just kind of avoided it like I do bills and other problems. Leg day, avoid them all. And just went along with my day hoping we'd still be friends.
Listen, obviously your accolades bring you on this show. So it wasn't by choice. It wasn't like I sat here and thought, I want to bring you on, because I was still in the phase of being mad at you. And then you win something and I go, shit, I got to talk to him now. So we'll get to that. But I guess my question for you was, why do you, a person who's so good at the athletic part of being in jiu-jitsu, afraid of doing what is essentially just an athletic thing for a comedy bit where, again, if you look at some of the guys who are doing well at it, they're not built like you. So when they do some of the moves, they cheat it. I know you know the moves. It's just a matter of putting it to actual film, sir.
Oh, I'm horrible at all the moves. I didn't have a brother or anything. I've never even tried a DDT, to be honest with you.
So where, I guess, does this appreciation and love for WWE come from? Because you seem to fit the mold. You almost look like you belong more to them than you do to us.
So it was kind of just me, my mom, and my sister growing up. So I kind of just watched John Cena for like how I should be as a guy. You know, hustle, loyalty, respect. I'm a bit of a jerk. But like as soon as I saw John Cena, I was just like, that's somebody I want to be like. And then I kept watching, started really falling in love with the story, everything. Like I sit down and watch that on YouTube all day long at work. Ignore people. I just watch like what happened with MJF last week.
Which, by the way, I was there for live, and the pipe bomb that he did in LA, it was phenomenal. Like when I saw the pipe bomb happen live, I looked at somebody and I said, this just justified my entire ticket. Like that talking, not the physicality, not the great matches, not even CM Punk, who was literally like just a mere like half inch away from jumping into the crowd on me. Not FTR, not all these great things. Daniel Garcia, John Moxley, all these great names. It was MJF talking for 7 minutes and me going, that's good. This kid's good. Good on him.
They can't hold his jock, brother. They really can't. He's the best in the game. The Bid and Warn 2024 is coming.
So I guess the question for you, though, is why do you like MJF? You have made a little bit of a heel turn, which your hero, John Cena, never made. So how are you justifying that you are enjoying now MJF when John Cena himself was always the good guy?
I don't know. I don't sell a lot of merch, so I'm allowed to do a heel turn. That's why he didn't.
So, okay, Steve, if you're telling me that you, a person who's obviously lifted a few weights in his time, as big as you can be, we're not doing any of the moves, what's the point of lifting? Because to me, I'm like, dude, if I'm you, everybody would be getting F5'd in my class. As it is, even people, I'm like, I think I can tombstone this person. I probably can. And then all of a sudden, it's everybody being like, can you pick me up? And I was like, I mean, let's find out. Nobody's going to worry about you.
No, I love lifting just because it gets me out of the house. I'm really like I don't sit still. I don't sit at home. So it just kills 2 or 3 hours. I hate lifting weights. I'd rather be at jiu-jitsu. I'm only there when jiu-jitsu's not going on.
That's understandable. So, all right. I'm glad we're going to get to a resolution. So what I want from you right now, because we'll come back to the pro wrestling stuff in a little bit, because I have some assumptions, but are we resolving that we're going to get a WWE BJJ video for you for the 2023 year, sir?
Listen, I'll up the stakes for you, Raphael. All right. If I do not get that in for you in the next one, I will never compete again.
Okay, hold on. This is not.
Yeah.
Listen.
Yeah. Up in the stakes. Yeah. I'm trying to boost the ticket sales.
You are. I like that it's a loser leaves town sort of stipulation that you're putting in here, but I want you to risk
the hair.
Oh no. Don't risk the hair. No, kid. I know what that means to East Coasters. You lose that hair, shit goes bad for you. You don't have that baby face look. We can't sell you on posters anymore. What I'm saying to you is this. I want you to compete. So there's no actual threat to me. It's all just you saying it and then us being like, well, I guess we got to keep him accountable. He can't compete anymore. I mean, there was an ADCC. He probably would have done well at the trials, but So when I'm looking at you, I'm thinking, what's going to end up happening is this. You and I are going to run into each other at some point, and perhaps we train, but it does mean that you'll be taking all the finishing moves. So you're going to have to bump for me. I'm not taking bumps for you. That's what that means.
Oh, I'm fine with that. I can bump. I can actually, I get moves done to me all the time. I just think I'll break someone's neck.
So when you say that you take the bumps, what's a bump that you're taking?
Like J-Rod. J-Rod always hits me with some wrestling crap his brother does. Wrestling's fake. I love it, but it's all fake, like pro and amateur. So they'll hit me with the move. I bump for them. You know what I mean?
So hold on. This is a major accusation you're putting out here right now. Are we to believe that these reels that we see of J-Rod hitting moves on you, they are not legit? You're just selling for him when he is teaching his version of wrestling?
100%. 100%. No. J-Rod's my little brother. So the only move that he can hit me with is tapping on me. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. I love him to death. He's a very talented, honestly, one of the best guys in the world.
He's also super sweet. Like, that's the nicest thing about him, is that when I talked with him, you do expect a lot of you East Coasters to have a little bit of, you know, mouthiness to themselves. But with him, dude, he couldn't have been nicer, more respectful, just a good kid. And I just remembered thinking, like, hey man, you did deserve to win. Not just because you're athletic, not just because you're good at jiu-jitsu, but like, you have the right attitude that we want to see win. So that does take people far. And I was very happy for him. And he came out to do Subversive about a week and a half ago, and I was helping produce that. And he was great. Both him and his brother, professionals. Great, easy to work with.
Yeah, dude. Jacobs, when he won that, man, I cried. Genuinely, I cried. I was actually at a difficult point in jiu-jitsu after Studio 84 closed, my old gym with Jay Regal Budo. I wasn't sure if I wanted to compete because I'd go out my last like 3 matches before that. And I just didn't want to be on the mat at all. And just seeing Keith Krikorian and J-Rod going out there, guys I trained with every day, back and forth, holding my own, doing great with them too. Why wasn't I out there? I didn't go to West Coast because I was kind of in a rut. So after seeing that, dude, I was just fired up, ready to go. Nobody stopping me.
Dude, I'm really happy to hear that, because I think it is so hard when you're an athlete to just exist in this competitive atmosphere to begin with. That's a given. Just competing is hard. But a lot of people say that their strength comes from their gym. So if the gym that you were looking to for strength is no longer in existence, sometimes it feels like, who am I doing this for? Like, obviously I can do it for me, but having that backdrop, when people win, they're always like, I want to thank my team. Like, if you had won, you don't have that. So sometimes, a lot of times when I talk to athletes, I say, you know, what is your why? It sounds like part of your why, a big chunk of it, was losing that team and then not having that motivation. How did you find it back? Was it them, or was it other stuff that helped you to find that kind of fight again?
100% them, man. It flipped a switch. Like, I was just watching it, and like something in me was just like, why wasn't it you? Because I want them to win every single match they have. If they have a match with me, they're not going to win, but I want them to win. You know what I mean? So now, just seeing that, I can do it. I know I can do it. Jacob was in B team for 6 months and went and did that. I can go out there in 2 and do all that. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go. And I just seeing my best friends, and they are my best friends in the world. There's not a lot of guys that I go to bat for, and those 2 are definitely one of them. Just seeing it, man, it woke me up. It made me realize, like, it's not about the wins and losses anymore, man. If you go back, everyone's lost. I'm going out there to show my jiu-jitsu and have a good time. I'm smiling every time I walk out to the mat. It kind of freaks the guys out.
Yeah, it doesn't freak me out. I know how hard it is to compete at a high level. So seeing you smile is actually a refreshing thing, because I just know you're feeling a sense of joy. Like, you wear your heart on your sleeve. So you're very much, when you're out there, you can tell when you really appreciate the crowd appreciating you. It's a mutual love and respect. So hearing you even say you had thought about kind of putting it away is ridiculous to me, but only because I see what it does for you when it's working. And so it's so hard to process you saying like, man, I was really imagining maybe some time at the very least, or a life without it. And if you're in my perspective from the outside, you think, no, we need this kid. He's a good addition to what we've got going on. And I know the work that Jay does. Jay builds champions, and like you are in that line of people that you're on the continued come up. So I was saying something off air when you were off air, which was purple belt, right? Are we still a purple belt, or did they promote you to brown?
Yeah, I'm still a purple belt. I don't know. I don't know what he wants from me, man. Like I'm so good. Like I'm so good at it. I deserve. I see on Instagram people that I personally don't like getting promoted, and then I'm just like, come on now. Like, he's a dork.
So, Steve, this is where I think I need to kind of do some analysis of your personality. So, you have to understand this. When you say that you love John Cena, it tells me like, all right, he's a goofball kid who only likes the good guys. But the cutting comments that you do on the side, it gives a little bit of an edge to you. Like, you're cutting promos, but only on the people you love. And so it is a true like bro trait to be like, oh, Jay took 6 months, I could do it in 2. And I'm like, okay, that's funny. I like that. I like you being like, I mean, he could give me a brown belt, but I'll tell you this much right now. I know what his rankings mean to other people. So
yeah,
it's different if you're sitting there being like, oh man, I want to be on that same competitive level. But if I see somebody who is Jay had somebody who came to visit us out in Cali, and they were a blue belt. And I was like, he's not just a blue belt. He's worked with Jay. And they're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, he'll be good. And I rolled with him, and he was phenomenal, and he was really cool. And, Jay and I were exchanging texts back and forth, and he's like, hey, I appreciate you taking care of my guy. And I was like, what are you talking about? You take care of 1 million people. Like, I took care of one of your guys. You're fine. Your guys are my guys. So whatever that happens, I'm always happy to take care of them. So let's start a little bit back here. When did you know when the gym was closing down, and you mentioned you were going through a funk? How long did that last? Because I know it was sudden, and I know it just kind of came out of the blue. And I've talked with Keith, I've talked with different people, but for you, it seemed to affect you in a different way. So like, how long do you think that closing of that gym affected you?
It was definitely like around that 6-month period, man. I live, breathe Jersey. Like, I love this place more than anybody on earth. I don't pay a lot of taxes yet, so that's probably why. But like all the other guys, Jacob's like, all right, I was gonna go to Texas anyway. Screw you. Keith Ricorian can go anywhere. John Combs can go anywhere. That's my home. So I haven't gone anywhere yet. I love traveling, meeting other people. I have a couple options to move out somewhere once I feel comfortable. But like, this is me. And when that was broken down, a lot of places didn't really like Studio 84 because we ran the game for about a year. So it was kind of awkward going to other gyms. But now, definitely settled in, bounce between a bunch of different gyms, a bunch of great training partners. So I'm definitely out of that funk now. I'm honestly more cocky than I was back then.
Well, I think you're kind of playfully cocky. I think there's a difference. I think it's not anything that's at my expense, at least not yet. And I think you know better than to try and insult me, because I'll just roast the shit out of you. But I think what you do is, it's kind of like a roast comedian that you go, all right, I came to see Don Rickles. I can't be offended when I go to see Don Rickles. It's like he's smiling backstage. He's telling you his name is Mr. Warmth. That's his nickname. That's because he's insulting you so much, but he's so friendly. So when you're saying like, yeah, I'm super cocky, like, I still don't believe it, but I see elements of you having a certain, some people might call it a swag, but I think it's really just a confidence in yourself. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. So let's do some backstory. Where does jiu-jitsu begin for you, sir? When did you start getting into the martial arts?
So we'll have to go a little bit further back than when I started to like explain it. So when I was, I think going into my senior year of high school, I was doing good in football, was getting a couple looks at colleges, wanted to go to Temple for it. I was like 290. I was a monster, just ready to rip people's heads off. And then I tore my meniscus. We went in to get the MRI real quick. They saw a giant, like a gelatin, like tumor in my left leg. So after that, I had to go through radiation therapy surgeries on that. So I stopped doing anything athletic. I was in like a real bad place. Didn't really know what to do. Kind of just laid in bed all day and watched like YouTube or something. But a family friend of mine, black belt under Alex Quintella. It's a small gym in PA where I started Quintella MMA. Told me come out. It was February 14th, I think, 2017. I remember the day. I walked in there, got obliterated by everybody, and I was like a 260-pound monster. I was still lifting at that point just to not be ugly. But I went in and rolled with this guy, Tan, who had both his legs blown off in the military, so he has stumps. And this dude worked me. So instead of feeling bad for myself, like, oh, I had cancer, my left leg can't bend past 90 still. So instead of feeling bad for myself, I'm like, this guy's out here. He's snapping my arm 7 different ways. So that day I was walking out. I said, see you guys tomorrow. Tan looked at me and said, no, we won't. It's off to the races right after that. I still train with Tan to this day. He's a great guy.
Okay, let's get into that a little bit on the psychological level as well. Would you have come back just a free will, or did being pushed competitively pull you back? Or is it both? Because I have certain athletes that I work with that they'll do a good job. They'll show up of their own free will and volition. But part of the reason I choose to trash talk them is because I know to tap into their competitive element. And I know that pulls out something better from them. I'm venturing, I guess. You could be one of those guys, but I don't know your full situation. So do you think you would have come back had he not said that?
Probably would have came back tentatively, but no, it lit a fire in my eyes. I smiled right away. I was like, I'm going to get this cripple mofo. I'm going to break him in half.
Of course, that's the best thing. You know what? That's how you can tell you have true heel capacity. And you're like, well, you know what? I'm going to beat this dude up. And people are like, what's wrong with you? And you go, no, I mean in jiu-jitsu, just in the thing we're agreeing to do. Shut up. It's fine. He's agreed to this.
I knee barred him the other day. He doesn't have legs. I knee barred him. I don't care. I wake up every morning and choose violence.
That sounds very similar to a number of my friends. So that's good. I'm glad that we see eye to eye on that. All right. So if that's the case, you find your way there. Let me ask this. When do you know that you fall in love with jiu-jitsu? Because I'm looking at this and maybe I wrote it down differently, but did you say that you went on February 14th, 2017?
I believe so. I know it was February. It might have been 7th. But
February 7th. Okay. Because when that happened, it just sounded like you were a lonely dude on a Valentine's Day bro date that got taken on Valentine's Day. But
dude, I have a girlfriend now. She doesn't like me. Like, it's just how it is.
But as a result of that, you found what you love. But when did you know that you really loved it in more than just a hobby way? When did you find this was something that you really wanted to pursue as like an actual passion?
I think I think right away my body knew that I was going to keep showing up. I used to do like 5 sessions in a row to the point where the last gi session, I used to do gi. I don't know why. It's stupid. But I used to do gi, and the last gi session at 8 p.m., I couldn't start on my knees for like drilling because they were just so raw from being on them all day. So my body knew, but I remember one day, one of my old coaches started talking trash about Gordon Ryan and his mouth. And I looked at him immediately. I'm like, this guy's a dweeb. I have to be able to be better than you. And I just want to be better than everybody. Like, I want to know that my jiu-jitsu's top tier. And ever since I started focusing on that, I just haven't been able to stop thinking about it. I've never been good at anything. Like, genuinely, I'm not good at much except talking. So I love jiu-jitsu. It's all I got.
You haven't been good at anything except for talking, but you're good at jiu-jitsu though. Yeah,
that's the first thing. That's why I fell in love.
Okay, I'm just
like, no one ever told me I was good at anything before that. You know what I mean? Like, no one ever just came up to me and went like, "Hey, that coloring that you're doing, great." No, I was always outside the lines. Like, I never did anything that stood out. Like, I was always just like mediocre, and high school girls didn't talk to me. Now I run down the street every single one's chasing me, man. I feel like Justin Bieber. It's insane. I love it.
Yeah, how are we not going to lose you to pro wrestling? You are in constant promo mode.
Oh, I can't turn it off. I can't. This is how I talk.
So do your friends ask you to turn it off? Are you too much for them? Because, you know, I don't know if people get this about me, but sometimes when I'm off camera, I'm very quiet. So one of the things that I try to pick up, like say we all go out to dinner, there's 20 of us out to dinner. I'm not always the center of attention. I'm not the loudest person. But what I do is I sit back and observe. But if nobody's playing court or hosting or making people feel comfortable, then I take over. And I just kind of go, hey, you good? All right, hey, everybody look over here. This guy, he's so crazy. And I'll tell stories and all that sort of stuff. You strike me as a person that you're just on all the time.
Yeah, I'm the center of attention, no matter who's around.
Okay.
Like, it doesn't matter. Honestly, I can be out like with the nicest people in jiu-jitsu. It'll be me and Jay. I'll be whispering, talking shit in his ear while he's doing commentary. It doesn't matter, wherever we're at. Oh, he's yelled at me on Emerald City.
What did he say to you on air?
He honestly just hit me in the gut. But no, so someone was competing. I honestly, I probably remember who. I don't want to put him on blast. But just the worst float pass attempt of all time. And I was just behind Jay. I said, that is just poor. I said some words. I don't like to curse, to be honest. I'm getting ready for WWE. You can't curse there. So when he just hit me in the gut real quick and said we were on commentary. So I definitely can't turn it off. I don't know where I'll be able to, but I don't think it's happening anytime soon.
All right, you just said you're trying to go toward the WWE route. Is that something you're actually trying to do?
I've never made any steps, but totally. If I saw an avenue, I would totally be into it. But I want to be the best in jiu-jitsu. Like, it's cool. I have some people who've been on WWE NXT that come into my gym, and I still feel like they're awesome. They're doing a thing I love. I'm still better than you because I can fight. Like, I'd still prefer to keep that.
Are you trying to actively beat them because they're on TV and you've seen them on those shows that you're like, I mean, they can do a lot of flips, but they can't flip out of this rear naked choke?
Exactly. Like what I say earlier, wrestling's fake. It's fake. I love it, but it's fake.
Wow, that's so intense. I think you'll enjoy this shirt. You're probably going to be the person to put this over. So taking 1 second here, sir. You'll understand. So this is a branded shirt that we've done for the show. And, you know, when I told you that I was like rolling in a tank top on my way back here, this is something that I've produced and we do it as a bit. So for our WWE BJJ match, I had made this. So for the next bit that we do, it's literally just a shirt that says kayfabe is a lie. And at first somebody looked at it and they're like, what do you mean? And I was like, if everything is wrestling, then the concept of kayfabe is a lie because everything is wrestling. And so they were like, oh, and I was like, yeah, I go. And the fact that people were like, oh, you got to keep kayfabe, don't break kayfabe. And I was like, that's a lie.
Yeah.
Everybody's literally just breaking kayfabe 24/7. The whole thing is everything is wrestling. So we started wearing that. And one of my homies,
I love it.
Thank you. But I did, you know, I told you off air, but I was literally about to do the interview and I was like, I need to change my shirt. And I thought about it. I was like, there's no way I can try and have a better physique than him on camera. It's just not going to go well.
No, I would have taken my shirt off. Just
Thank God. Okay, good. So let me ask this, because I've seen you compete and there are photos of you sometimes where you are without shirt. And then it's not that you competed without the shirt. It's just that you get caught up in the emotion of afterwards. Like, what happens there? Is it just that you've done so much work that you're like, you know what? You guys should see this.
That's exactly, like, they deserve it. They bought the ticket. That's for that. It's not for me. I'm comfortable with myself. I know how I look. That's for them.
So if that's the case, how much work are you doing for maintenance on that body? Because the hardest part for me is always when I tell people, I go, what do you have to do to get that? And they go, this. I go, that sounds nice. I'm going to eat. I'm not doing that. That's a young person's game. So what is the maintenance? Like, what does a daily routine look like for you?
10 calf raises and some steroids, usually in the morning, and that's it.
That's what I thought. You know what's funny is
No, I work out like 4 or 5 times a day. Not a day. Tito Ortiz. 4 to 5 times a week for lifting, and then 4 to 5 times for jiu-jitsu.
So when you're doing jiu-jitsu, like, are they sessions? Are they drill sessions? Are you taking classes? How is that working for you?
So I don't drill at all. Like, I'll do a move 3 times and then I'm done. I think active drilling against like blue belts who know what's going on is a lot more effective for me. But I haven't drilled in the last 2-3 years more than like a couple repetitions. So I'm just live rolling, positional rolling the whole time.
I'm very similar in one respect, which is I don't memorize things well, so I do have to drill, but I know it doesn't seep in until it becomes like a under fire sort of a thing. So I'm a big live drill positioner kind of guy. And so just last week, Nikki Rod was actually teaching a seminar. I was grabbing some videos for a little vlog on the site. And somebody asked me, like, are you going to drill? Like, do any of it? And I'm like, no, I'm actually watching you guys make the mistakes. And they're like, yeah. And I go, yeah, if you guys make the mistakes I would have made, I won't make them. And they go, really? I was like, yeah, I've already mentally drilled. And he's answering the questions that are giving me the insight that I wouldn't have gotten by drilling. So that the other day I'm rolling with some of the guys, and it's like one of those death hot training sessions here in California, like 105 degrees, and you know you're going to slip off the person. The person I'm rolling with did not have a rash guard. And I was like, okay, now let's see if this works. And I literally get the kind of method that Nikki was showing to take the back, and I go, and it worked. And one of my homies
was it bringing the knee over?
It is, but it was the grip. So it's that cross grip on the side and
right
the knee
there,
on the inside.
In, don't move the. I've trained with that dork too many times.
I know that you knew what I would be talking about because everybody's got their greatest hits. But the thing that was
5 moves, man.
Hey, you know what though?
He's got 5 moves.
They work, and sometimes if you're big, even if they don't work, they work.
Dude, I'll tell you what. I've rolled with him so many times. I don't think his strength has anything to do with it anymore. He really has, like, technically gotten so good. I get angry when people say he's strong. Like, no, I'm strong. I'm just as strong, man. But he's very technical. His body lock passing, disgusting. His hand fighting system is honestly pretty good. Like, compared to like guys like Pat Downey, Mark Hall that I've talked to, they all say his hand fighting's fantastic.
Well, I was very impressed at the seminar and watching him do the teaching, because that was the first time I've ever seen him teach. I've seen him compete. I've seen him train just a little bit, but that's usually in person, and it's not anything super crazy. This was a particular case where I could see him explain it, and like I said, I didn't have the time to drill it, and then the first opportunity I got it, I go, okay, cool. And one of the guys who I was training with looked at me and he goes, "Where'd you get that from?" And I was like, "Oh, sorry, man, I can't tell you. It's a state secret at this point." And so he was really pissed because he knew I was going to hit him with it. And I did. The next time I rolled with him, I was like, I don't know, man. I mean, just pay attention. But what I tell people is that, yeah, sure, I could have drilled it the 10, 20 times at the seminar, but it was more important for me to learn it, assess it, and then try to do it in a live drill in a very difficult situation, so that now I could see where I might make mistakes with it, so that the next time I see him, I might be like, hey, man, that really did work for me. Now I have a better informed question that I can ask you, as opposed to if I had just done it and paint by numbers. So I do believe it is important to kind of mix them, but it also depends on what your training style is. If you're somebody who has a good memory and can put those things together, or you just do it a couple times and you got it, then run with that, because that's not the way it works for everybody.
Yeah, no, it's natural talent is usually what I like try and hawk that up to. I'm just born for it. Like, anytime anyone's been in the room, they look at me and go, "That's the next Gordon Ryan." I'm not joking on that one. That's not even a promo. All the time. Handsomer than Gordon. But
you know what, dude? I'm not at all a qualified expert to tell you who's more handsome at the other, because
I got you, man. I'm definitely better looking. Gordon doesn't like me either, so I can talk a little smack. I love Gordon.
Okay, that's fair. I just like the idea that you you try to win even the most insignificant of things where you're like, oh, I'm better looking at him. I was like, well, that was not the topic of conversation per se, but we did get there. So, okay, cool. I also carry my one better than him. Are we talking basic math? Yeah. I also do basic geometry better than Gordon too. It's like, sure. What is the most embarrassing competitive streak in you? Like, is there something that you have competed so hard at that even you thought, maybe this is a little much?
What do you mean? Like in jiu-jitsu or just something?
It can be in
general?
anything. Like, I'm talking, my famous analogy is always, you can tell the competitive people in jiu-jitsu because they're the people who say things like, oh, yeah, you want to keep going? Yeah, you want to keep going? But that competitive streak doesn't just end in jiu-jitsu. My wife likes to famously say, I'm only highly competitive with 10 people. So if somebody tapped me and they're not one of those 10 people, I'm like, yo, bro, good job. That was an awesome armbar. But if it's one of the 10, she will 100% vouch and she'll go, no, you're going to be there for a while. You're going to go hard on them. And so if they're in my 10, their circle, I talk trash to them. I'm very aggressive to them. But it's really only 10 people. Everybody else gets pretty much the nice version of me. But for you, I'm wondering, do you have those 10 where you go like, all right, let's get Candyland. Let's go. Let's do shoots and ladders. Let's see how it goes.
My good buddies, definitely, they're not beating me in anything. I need to be the alpha of the group, or at least pretend to be. My girlfriend's actually charging me. She hits me. Help. But no, I'm not the most competitive guy. It's really just jiu-jitsu. I really want to just be better than them, and I want everyone to know that I'm good at it because I know I'm good in my head. I don't know if they know, and I need them to know. And if they don't know, they're going to know,
When did you get the idea that you were good at jiu-jitsu? Because it seems like some things are just, you mentioned it's a natural talent, but when did it kind of click like, no, this is something that works for me? And you have famously said that you didn't feel like you were ever acknowledged at being good at other things. So sometimes when people aren't told they're good at things, it's harder or it takes a little bit longer for them to kind of process like, yeah, I'm kind of good at this. But for this, you can see results when you're tapping people. So when did you kind of get that vibe?
Week 1. I'm not joking. I shouldn't be tapping 4-stripe white belts in my head as a starter on my 3rd day. And I was with Kimuras. Like I was hitting everybody with everything real quick. And then when I realized I wasn't good at jiu-jitsu, that's probably a better story. When I realized that I'm not the bee's knees, that's a good one for you. It's how I met Jay and Nikki.
Okay, so let's hear that story.
I was going to basic classes, stuff like that, and I heard about this big beefy blue belt who's kind of good, and handsome. And I'll tell you this right now, my girlfriend will leave me for Nicky Rod if I act up. She's told me, so I'm not saying I'm better looking than him. I'll give him it. He gets that. But so I go in there, I hear he's good looking, super strong, super fast, and obviously I think I'm better. So I go out there. There's a video of me, I think it was produced by Polaris, of me getting snapped down so much it looked like I was shooting doubles for 5 minutes. And then Jay just pulled me aside and said, hey, come here. And after that, off to the races. But that's the day I found out there's levels to the game and that I did suck at one point in my life.
But it was also sucking to Nicky Rod, who's also kind of a weird anomaly. So like you two do share that, which is most people do not step into jiu-jitsu like you guys do. And I could tell, I remember Jay telling me about Nicky and then asking me if I could shoot him because I was shooting at Worlds. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I grabbed some photos of him. And I recognized Nicky's got a pretty good poker face when he doesn't know or he's in a new situation. So he was playing it super cool. And I would walk over to him. I was like, do you know what you need to do? And he's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I was like, cool. When's your next match? And I looked at him and I was like, you do know it's in 2 matches. It's like this. And he's like, yeah, cool. I was like, yeah, dude. Jay gave me a call, asked me to photograph, but I don't just photograph. I know how to take care of guys. So here's what you need to do. Do this, don't do this, do this, and do this. I was like, you're in good hands otherwise. I'm not worried about you in the matches. But it was our quick way of establishing a rapport. I just remembered being like, yeah, you're already good. Like, I know there's good things ahead for you, but you always take care of your guys. So even though he wasn't necessarily in my roster, again, Jay's guys are my guys. So we at least had a friendship from that part on. But for both of you, you guys are very, very big exceptions because most people come into jiu-jitsu and they struggle with it. It takes a while. It doesn't necessarily show as a major thing. What do you think was different? And don't tell me you're built different because that's a dumb answer. But like, what systematically do you think attributed to your faster acceleration in the sport?
All right. It's really got to be training with Jay, man. Smash Pass Jay is the greatest coach of all time. I love John Danaher, but he doesn't have a beard, so Jay takes the cake on that one. He makes you believe in yourself. He breaks it down, and so I don't drill, but I have Jay. Why do I need to drill? He drilled it. He's going to tell me what works, what to look out for. He's a genius, and it's the same with Nick. We just shut up and do the work. He probably got it from wrestling. I got it from football. Questioning your coach is dumb. Just do what he says and see what happens. A lot of people, like I've done seminars where, like, listen, I'm not Craig Jones, but sit down and listen to me when I'm talking about leg locks if you're at a random seminar, and they'll talk back. You don't do that. You go in, you do the work, and then you'll see it. You'll see it in the training. Thinking you're hot shit every day. Like, I am. I don't have to think it. It's just a fact. But like for other people, they can't go around thinking they know everything. You gotta be ready to learn from the best in the world. Be willing to get beat up and smile by the best in the world. I spent a year where I probably didn't get a tap because I was getting beat up by John Combs, Keith Krikorian, Nicky Rod all the time. But it's fine because I go out and compete and it's light work. So as long as you're not afraid of getting beat up and you're willing to do the work, you're gonna get good. You won't get as good as me, but you will be like solid-ish. You know what I mean? There's levels to the game.
Okay, so you just mentioned two pals of mine. Keith is somebody I've trained with, tough rolls. John Combs is somebody I train with, tough rolls. How do they take to this? Because I think they have to be intensely enamored by the vibe you put out because they're both super chill. Like Keith's brand is lovable Muppet. John Combs is like your stoner best friend who just is super good at this. There's just like, hey, bro, like, you guys want to go roll? Like, yeah, John, are you high right now? No. Yeah, maybe. So
microdosing on like mushrooms while he's saying it.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And like both of those guys are near and dear to this show. But I just know that they have to be highly entertained, especially if they just spent a good portion of the training session beating the shit out of you when the show is happening in front of them. So what was that vibe like with you guys?
Keith Krikorian and me, we're like brothers that get along. Like, I love hanging out with Keith. Me and John Combs, we're best friends. I love him to death. Leave us in a room together for multiple days. He's coming out, not me. I'm taking him out real quick. He's going to be sleeping with his, I love John. So if he gets mad about this, I'm sorry, buddy. I'll see you in a few weeks. You can beat me up. But he sleeps with something covering his mouth so he can breathe out of his nose and covers his eyes. I'll kill him in his sleep. I love him to death. But we definitely, our personalities, we just respect each other. And that's why we get along. But personality-wise, he wants to kill me and I want to kill him. He yelled at me. I'm still mad about it. We were staying in a hotel room for nationals. I get out of the shower. We're staying with all guys. I get out of the shower. He walks into the bathroom. I swear I hear my mother in my ears. Steve, can you come in here? He points at the floor. Grown man. Points at the floor. There's droplets of water. He turns and says, I'm very disappointed in you. I didn't expect this. So I love him, but I want to smack him half the time.
Is it that he is the older statesman in this relationship and that he is trying to teach you something and that you, the young kid, who did leave droplets there, which would be considered rude to a number of people, And that I think your defense is, but bro,
be a man. Get over it. Cry about it. I don't know what to tell you. Water's wet. You're going to shower. You'll get wet in a second, dude.
I just love the fact that I know John Combs pretty well. And I like telling people, I'll share this story because I don't think he'll mind it. But there was definitely a moment. So my whole bag is they know me as Captain Defense. So what I tell people is that when you get old, like I am, you can't force everything, but you can counterpunch well. So my gift is if you do something, I find the hole and I reverse it. And I'm decent at that. It is harder with people like you who are very strong, and also people like John Combs, who, though very technical, still deceptively strong. So when I'm rolling with him, yes, yeah, I've given plenty of those jokes, believe me. But
I don't know.
Yeah, no, we're good here. But when he was on top and he was trying to get something, he got really mad at me one day. And I was like, what's up? And he goes, I can't get this armbar in you. And I was like, that sounds more like a you problem. And he's like, yeah. And I go, aren't you the black belt? And he's like, well, you're not doing anything. And I go, I'm not the athlete. I am host. My job is to be good at this. I roll to be less fat. You roll to win ADCC. I shouldn't be a problem to you. And granted, he had tapped me a whole bunch and everything else, but he was really mad about this armbar. He goes away, he sends me a note, and he's like, hey, Raf, we're going to roll again soon, and I'm totally going to get you with this armbar. And I'm like, why am I of concern to you? Should not be of concern. And guess what? He gets me once with the armbar, and I go, okay. And he goes, what's that? I go, no, okay. And he's trying to figure out what I meant by that, and I go, oh, okay. For the rest of the roll, the rest of the day, he can't get me with it. And he's so pissed. And he goes, what the fuck did you mean by okay? I go, I downloaded it. I figured out what you did. So now I'm just reverse engineering it. I had to have it happen once, but now I know what it is. So you're not going to get it again. And he was so mad at me. And I go, listen, bro, I can't help you right now. You need to get better at jiu-jitsu. And that is my version of trash talk, which is how come you're not beating me as much? Because I'm not good. And you're supposed to be good. So I understand what it's like to pester him a little bit, but that is why every time that man sees me, he is trying to murder me. And I don't know if you know this, but when somebody who's super skilled at jiu-jitsu is trying to murder you, it's not always the funnest session.
No, I hate training with John when he's trying. It's not a fun time. No, you know what? He doesn't get mad. People think that John's like a jerk training partner because he gets mad he can't get something. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about Steve Joachim getting a move on him. He cares about the technique being done to his defensive technique. That's all. He's a nerd, dude. Like,
yes and no. No. There is definite part me on that because I don't say, yeah, I don't say that with like, oh man, I'm super good. I think it is frustrating because the fact that the man worked on something and is talking shit to me to be like, fuck you, I've got something for you. And I go, okay, probably. And then he hits it once and he gets his confidence super high. And I go, okay. And then he's like, the fuck's okay mean? And I go, yeah, it's got a deficiency. What I found was the deficiency. And now I know how to get it. I was like, now I have all the intel that I needed, but thank you. And so afterwards, we finished rolling and I just go up to him. I was like, hey man, come here. I want you to know you wasted your whole time. The whole time that you thought you were going to get me, you just wasted it. And I want to make sure that you understand that. Good to see you, bro. Hey, man, go enjoy stuff. I hope that you're doing well. And he looks at me and he's like, I'm so fucking mad at you. And I said, listen, bro, you're going to go win something. And you're going to fuck somebody up with that next. And I think one of the next things he competed at, he just was crushing people. So that's amazing. And again, I'm glad that you're friends with John because when I heard that you guys had that powerhouse team, you, John, Keith, I thought, okay, even if it didn't last forever, I'm glad that you all got the chance to share techniques because that was a good mindhead group. Like that's a good group of techniques, skill levels, and agilities. So I was very stoked about that. I want to ask this. You said that jiu-jitsu didn't start until the 2017, but you're definitely a guy whose sports made its way early into your beginnings. So where does like sports in general kind of find its way for you?
My family was always athletes. My granddad played on the Jets and Eagles. So it's in the genes. My dad, he did lacrosse. I think that's a sport. I'm not sure. But so with me, football, I was kind of just strong and hit people really fast. But those guys are dumb, and they're good at that for like 5 years, and they can't do it anymore. Now all the really good football players that I used to play with are sending me DMs asking me for tickets to like Fury Grappling. So definitely like the real sports started at jiu-jitsu, but like the fun like games on the playground definitely started young.
Okay, so it was football that kind of was the feeder. Were you doing any other sport, or was it just football that you were concentrating on?
Just football. Definitely. Honestly, I just wanted to be part of the boys. I was always made fun of as a kid because I was chubby and I talked like this, but didn't have like anything backing it up. So I just get made fun of nonstop. So I wanted to join football so I could be cool. It didn't work. Honestly, I got like my head put in toilets instead. It got worse after. But that's why I started though.
No, I understand. That's what your origin story is now. So now I'm understanding how you became the evil villain. You had things done to you. So I'm pretty sure things kind of circled in that life spectrum. But here's a question for you. Have you realized that you just described that your life story was essentially the Ryan Reynolds movie, Just Friends? Like, that's essentially what happened. You started off super fat where everybody was hating on you, and then all of a sudden you get kind of in shape, and then all of a sudden you're just this guy. You're like, you turn into Ryan Reynolds at one point.
I lost at Ryan Reynolds. I started daydreaming.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I want to make sure that you understand.
Yeah, I got you.
He loves Ryan Reynolds. Okay, I'll make sure to mention that. Listen, at the beginning of this, you already were professing your love to John Cena, so it's not going to be hard to tag these people when I make these Instagram reels.
Oh,
so
please, I've been tagging them both for years. They won't get back to me.
So is John Cena kind of like the dad that went out for smokes with you? Like, is he just not responding to you right now and just being like, hey, man, you're on your own, kid. Hustle, loyal, respect, etc. somewhere else?
Yeah, dude, he won't respond to a single thing. I tag him in everything. And he posts, like, do you follow him on Instagram?
I don't, but I am aware that he is incredibly inspirational and puts up quotations all the time.
No, not since I've been following him. He just literally takes a picture of a teacup and then posts a teacup. So not missing anything following John Cena. And I'm sorry, John, but I'm sick of it. You've been dodging me for years. He needs an attitude adjustment. I'm a big deal. I have 2,417 followers on Instagram, dude. Get back to me. And Chris Evans, too. Captain America. I'm waiting.
So where does the Captain America thing come in? Because I know that John Cena, it makes sense. You're a pro wrestling fan. But the fact that you're actually... So are you switching branding, or were you always Captain America?
So I didn't take any of these. These were all given to me. Gifted to me.
Okay.
Like I think Kevin Bradley, or maybe it was Jay on a podcast with somebody else, said it looked like Captain America, and it really stuck for everybody. But I'm more Soldier Boy than anything.
So hold on. When you say Soldier Boy,
Jensen Ackles from The Boys. You don't watch The Boys?
Oh, sorry. I go hip hop R&B first. So when you said Soulja Boy, I was like, the rapper? Sorry, took a minute.
Soulja Boy.
Okay, thank you. Yes, that kind of makes sense. No, you know who might have actually? I think now that you're kind of describing it, it might have been Kevin on my show, on this very show.
Really?
Yeah, because Kevin came on as a guest, and famously we said we had a segment where I asked everybody to say who they think is going to be the person to watch in 2020, which, by the way, looks back at that great. 2021 was what I think we were trying to say, but we said these are the people to watch in the next year. And I think he mentioned you because that was him putting us on. And he was afraid to say anything bad about you because in his description, he goes, Raph, come on, man. Don't do that to me, because if you say anything about him, he's going to beat me up. And I was like, I don't care. I hope he beats you up more. I really don't give a shit. And he goes, but he's close enough where he can beat me up. And I go, good. That's on you.
Nah, dude, I would never beat him up. He gives me enough lunch money. He's fine.
That, of course, is a nice progression. So, okay, so you did like football. Is there anything from football that you miss? I would assume it's probably the camaraderie, but I think that you have found a new element from it. But is there anything from the actual sport of playing football that you do miss?
No, it's inferior for me in every way. Like actually doing the sport, I don't like the pauses. I just like it being me out there. I don't want to have to worry about him getting his block or breaking a block. I don't want to deal with that. I'd rather everything be on me. The camaraderie was great, but honestly, all those guys I'm still kind of friends with that I was friends with there. So I still have that. Jiu-Jitsu, people kind of are mean to me at Jiu-Jitsu. They don't really like me.
Are they mean or just responding in a way that you're prodding them?
Nah, they're mean, man. I don't say a thing. I haven't said anything disrespectful on here, have I?
Not disrespectful.
I'm a perfect gentleman.
I don't know about that. I don't know that we can make that assumption. I think that you've been wonderfully candid and you smile good. Yeah, I think that's good. But I don't know that somebody watches this and goes, this dude is perfection. Look at him. I think that's more the phraseology you might be putting in. Let's ask this, Steve. You were originally brought on this show to talk about the SOGI Invitational. So again, let's kind of map this back for everybody. You've obviously been killing it on the competition circuit, so I do want to get to the SOGI part. But when did you kind of feel like you were having a breakthrough, at least competitive-wise? Because you, on my radar, especially when Kevin put you on my sites, I'd seen you before, but I said, okay, let's really see what Kevin's seeing here. And then that year you were starting to really make some prominent runs, and with a lot of our friends who were putting on good shows, excellent work, to as recently as Fury, when you're doing some amazing performances. So when did you start feeling like you were elevating in competition? And is there anything that you kind of saw that was like, all right, this is what I'm chasing right now?
It was at like a local tournament where I kind of realized that a guy that beat me in like EBI overtime when I was like a fresh blue belt with Jay, he's a black belt. He had a rematch, like I think a year and a half right before COVID. Like right before COVID. I only got good at jiu-jitsu during COVID. But so I had a match with him and leg locked him in like 30 seconds. And after that, things just kept rolling and rolling and rolling. Since then, it's been a couple years. I've only had like 3 or 4 losses that I can think of. And 2 of them were during that rut where I didn't want to be there. So I've just been kind of just firing out the barrel since.
How did you like competing on Fury? That seems like a natural stage for you, especially whenever they go back to Philly. It looks like they are pulling a set of guys that they know will show for them. And I think that that's a really good fit for you right now.
Yeah, I'm cheating a little bit. I train with all the guys that run Fury twice a week. So I'm not going to get on, or they're getting their tires slashed, genuinely. But I love all the guys that run the event. Jonathan Webb is a monster. Love the dude to death. He literally tries so hard just to help everybody. Like, he doesn't need to help me out with things. He'll always text me, see how I'm doing, seeing if I'm coming to train. He's a great dude. I'm also undefeated in the 2-300 arena. So Fury's going back there. I'm ready to go back. No one can touch me in my arena.
Oh, so you're calling that? So you're going to start calling it the Captain America arena, or are you starting to call it what is it, Joachim arena? Like, what are you looking to brand that? Because again, kid, you can't just say it's my arena. You got to put the branding to it, because everybody says it's their arena. So how are we making it your arena?
Well, that's the thing. It's not about you. It's about the crowd. You've never heard John Cena talk about this? How do they respond to you? They tell me that it's my arena. When they scream when I stall for 9 minutes and get a ref decision, that's them, not me.
That's adorable. That sounds like somebody who's never sold tickets before, but that's okay. I've sold tickets with my name.
No, my mom sells them for me.
I was about to say, I was like, young man, I know what it's like to actually go out there. I recently had a guest who just talked about his dad going through his Rolodex, and I was like, yo, I'm going to get your dad to sell out my comedy shows, because screw doing it myself. It's like one of the things I hate doing, which is hey, you want to come see my show? I know the answer is no. I want to be like, what are you going to do to come see my show? I will not stop bugging you until you come. So that is one of the things I hate about putting on and producing things like that. It's insane. So much work. But okay.
I hate giving people tickets. Like, I don't want people I know to go to events, honestly. Like, it gets in my head. Like, I have to, not that I don't want people to watch me. I want everyone to watch me. I don't want to have to kind of babysit. Like, I feel bad that they're sitting in a corner while I'm bouncing between everybody. So I'd rather just no one be there. So I think maybe I have 3 tickets since I started jiu-jitsu for events. They hate me. I don't know why they keep having me on.
Well, the other person that sells tickets really well, I'm sure, aside from your mom, is Jay's really good at it. Jay is a very good businessman. So you definitely luck out on that side too.
Yeah, dude, real lucky with Jay. He's literally a genius. Everyone listens to whatever he says. It's crazy. They love it.
You know, like I said, I've only gotten to do commentary with him once. And this is the kind of person he is. When I showed up, I normally bring research and I normally bring stuff. And I just done another commentary gig the day before. He hands me a packet and goes, hey, I made this. It's for me, but I made you one too. And here's how it works. And these are the matches. And here's this. And I was like, I do the same. And he's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I do. I just do no cards. That's my big thing. And I was like, and I got this. And I go, but more of these people. This is more your area. I'm coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. This is amazing. And it was just like, we always wanted to work with each other. We're always happy to work with each other. But I was like, this is even better than I thought it was going to be. Because we didn't even get to talk yet. We had just talked about the pre-stuff of, you got yours? I got mine? Okay. You do this? I got the, okay, let's just feel it out. And immediately, just one of the best in the business. And I think what makes him unique is, there was a little bit of a blockade, I think they said, where he couldn't coach during ADCC. And I think he couldn't coach and commentate is the ruling. And I think to myself, you know what? That only hurts the commentary for ADCC because he is a phenomenal commentator. And I think you make the exception for his guys. And it may be hard. Maybe he doesn't want to do it when they get too high, but he is that good of talent that you should have him on the sticks, because if you don't, it's a waste.
Oh, dude, just so professional. Honestly, he's only commentated like one of my matches ever, and it was one of the few matches. It had Garrett Lavaji, who was great on commentary too. I've never heard him before, but I thought he did a great job. But those two together, that was my favorite commentary team. He knew. It helps that he's my coach, but he knew every little adjustment I was doing. A lot of the time people be like, oh, he's going for outside Ashi instead of saying where he's grabbing grips and stuff like that. And guys like you, like I heard you on BJJ Fanatics, like really good stuff, like a lot of good shit talk too to keep me entertained, but then technical. Jay's not really good with the trash talk. I think if me and Jay did something like that, he won't. I've begged him to do a commentary job with me. He refuses because he wants to keep getting a commentary job.
Here's what you have to do. You have to pull all in. Like, you have to push all in on just the same way I did, which is I brought you on my show and I said, hey, listen, you little twerk, you're going to get on this and you're going to do one of these. I think you have to go, hey, Jay, if I win this, you have to do this. Like, I think if you tell him you win ADCC trials, he has to do a commentary gig with you. Like, I think that's the kind of way to motivate him, because he'll think about it and he'll be like, oh, that's pretty hard to do. Maybe not. And then he'll think about it as more motivation for you too. So just saying.
Yeah, now I owe him trials, Victor. I'm telling you, when I get to ADCC someday, when I win ADCC, that's the only guy I'm thanking. I'm going to be holding him, crying. Man. He deserves everything. Genuinely, I don't care about anyone else in jiu-jitsu. If I could make everyone else disappear but keep one person, it would be Jay Regalbuda.
Well, as we're circling right now, sir, I wanted to go on this. Tell me a little bit about the Sogi Invitational, because, like I said, that is going to be purchasing your ticket over to the Sapateiro Invitational. But how did that tournament go?
So, really great tournament. Ran by the Sogi guys, 10th Planet, Long Island. Good friends with everyone a part of that. But so, honestly, I I don't want to be disrespectful. I'm not even doing a promo. It wasn't a real hard tournament for me. I'm really excited for the Sapateiro. I'll be honest with everybody. Anybody can beat anybody in that tournament. Everyone's genuinely ridiculous when you look at it. But that Sogi, I just think at least on the Northeast, guys are starting to really just show who's really the best in the area. And not a lot of guys on the East Coast can really keep up with me unless they're one of the best in the world. Me and Jay say it all the time. Top 100 grapplers in the world. Like, you have to treat yourself like that in training, in competition. And I don't think anyone got even a sequence on me in that tournament. A lot of stalling in the first 2 matches, but as soon as jiu-jitsu was being done, I won. But definitely excited for this Sapateiro. Monsters. I'm probably going to get destroyed, but I'm taking a leg or 2 home with me.
I mean, you could say, yeah, you might get destroyed, but I can say you probably wouldn't necessarily get some of these matches just right off the back. But if you're in your, but what I'm saying is, if you look at the way that they match make with some of these things, they wouldn't necessarily put you guys together. But here, anything goes. You could be matched up with somebody that you might not normally get a super fight with, and magic can happen. So you don't know those sorts of things.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I was texting Josh earlier today, honestly, just because I was excited that I saw Elder on there. I want Elder. I've been on this man's ass for years. I'm excited. I'm going to leg lock him. He's very good, but he's getting leg locked.
Okay. I'll make sure.
I don't know if the leg lock's going to work, but it's going to hurt.
You know what? Elder is a friend of the show. I can say that. But I can also say, factually, I have seen leg locks have been problematic for him. So it just depends on what the entry is. So you're not wrong.
Elder's great. I'm not talking trash about Elder Cruz. I'm a big fan of him. He's like Big Dan, crushed his guard at Subversive. Like, just cooked him the entire time. I have nothing but respect for Elder Cruz, but it doesn't change the fact he's getting leg locked, and there's going to be a few pops.
I still enjoy that. It's just, I don't care what happens. If we're in the parking lot, that man is going to get leg locked.
No, like, everyone always talks trash about the opponents. Like, this guy sucks. No, they're amazing. I am better. I am just better. That's how you up your value. This guy's amazing. I had a great match, and I smoked him because I'm better than that guy. And that's how I treat it. Like, I think I could lose and win every single match, but when I think about it, I don't see a loss for that Elder match, especially in EDI. That's my rule set.
I dig it. All right, man. Well, let's do this. We're going to put a pin on this part of the conversation, but I want to give you an opportunity to go ahead and give us some shout outs to your sponsors, to the people who helped you and who are going to be helping you get ready for this Sapateiro, which I believe is August 7th. That's down in Florida. So very excited for that. Shout out Star-Lord Josh LeDuc, all that good stuff. Very much appreciate that. But the camera's on you, man. Take it away.
Well, you stole the first one. Star-Lord Josh LeDuc is the man. I love him. Gino and Danny out there, they let me stay with them whenever I'm in Florida, so I appreciate it. Of course, LXB, the best gear in the game, honestly. Like, it's my favorite. I'm not joking. They don't pay me. I'm not sponsored. They just send me gear because they feel bad that I'm just J-Rod's friend right now. So last one. It's going to be Web MMA, the Vault Jiu-Jitsu, and then, of course, Smash Pass Jay, the greatest coach of all time, my best friend. I love him. So thank you to him for everything.
So I'm very pro your ambitions to go to the WWE because, let's face it, jiu-jitsu people, sometimes they're boring. But I think there's something in you. I think you've got some talent, some charisma. And it begs the question, if I were to give you an opportunity to cut a promo on me right now, would you be able to do it?
We can try. I don't know. I'm a winger. I wing things. All my trash talk is not thought of. I don't write anything down.
I know you don't wing things, but I'm saying, like, this is the kind of stuff that the old man, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, would expect to see out of you if he were to come up to you right now and go, listen, Steve, that's all we're talking to you right now is we're not using your last name, and it's a dumb last name. But cut a promo on this brown guy right here. Would you be able to do it?
Let's say, brother, I'm a little concerned that you're talking about Vincent Kennedy McMahon when everything's going on right now. He keeps popping up on all those shows with all. You see what I'm talking about? With, are you still on?
I'm still here. I see you.
Okay, now you're moving. Yeah, no, with all the stuff that he's doing right now, do not invoke that man's name on my podcast, sir. I don't want to get demonetized.
It's not bad. Do you want to get a little bit of a master class on how this works, kid?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Steve, what's your favorite food?
Ramen.
Ramen. Okay. It's really nice to hear. If you want to know something about Steve, and why would you? It's not good. Not that impressive. I've seen better. In fact, he's trained with better. A lot better. But you know what's really fascinating is this young man, his favorite food is ramen. Now ask yourself, why is ramen this man's favorite food? Here's why. It's because he's living off of cheap dreams. And when you live off of cheap dreams, you can't see in the future. You can't see what's in front of you because all you see is a little bowl of ramen that you work so hard for with all your pennies that you put in a nice little jar. And maybe if you save up enough, maybe you can go to fancy restaurants every once in a while, have that good ramen. But you know what the thing is? I do that every night. Anytime I want it. Right now, I could go. But instead, I got to cut this stupid promo with this stupid kid so we could stupidly put him over for an event that I may or may not commentate. It depends on my availability. But I'll tell you this. I respect his work. But I have no respect for people who can't cut a promo or do a simple WWE BJJ video. End scene. That's how you do it.
Ooh, that was good. You told a story with your face. I like it.
You told the story with your face. You used facial expressions. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, dude. No, I'm a big fan of make it funny, but make it a little serious so that it's always got a little bit of a wink and nudge to people. So anytime I've seen people who are like, you really don't like that guest. I'm like, no, I know the guest. That's how I can get away with this. Like I don't make fun of people I don't know. There's no reason to. But now I know you. So now I can cut promos on you. And that's why I can ask you something as inane as, you like ramen? Okay, cool. What do you get as ramen, though? I need to know that.
So I just get the chicken ones.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
But let me just say, if you're going to talk shit about me, just know I love it. Because, man, I talked about it before we came on the show. When I was a fresh white belt, I was watching EBIs with you just going over it with Gary and Gordon, just talking shit to them. I was talking to my mom before. I was doing like my breathing exercises before this. And she was like, "What? Why are you nervous? He's some ugly looking Mexican with goofy glasses." And I said, one, that's racist. Two, I said, he is one of my heroes. And I am so honored to be on this podcast. So thank you for having me.
It is a pleasure to have you, man. It was only a matter of time. And you know what's great is you've been putting in the hard work. So I always tell people, you know, it's very quick that these things can happen. You know, I went from interviewing goofballs like Gary Tonin and Gordon Ryan when nobody else was behind the scenes. Nobody else was going up to talk to those guys, but I did. And I'm glad that I did because I always try to give due respect to the athletes. And I think, how can I elevate them? I think I can add some humor. I think I can add some levity to the situation. Have a good interview, but, you know, don't kiss their ass too much. Just make it fair and ask the questions that people want to hear. Get a little technique in, get a little story in. And at the very end, really just give them the opportunity to say what they have to say. And what's really good about you is if people really understand what you're doing is they're reading between the lines. You're having fun. Like there's not a moment when we're talking where you're not having fun as you're doing it. And that's really important to me because so many of these guys get so nervous to just be themselves. And the best thing you can do in jiu-jitsu is be yourself. And if people don't like it, well then fuck them. So for me, it's a big thing of do what you do, let people see a peek into who you really are. And I think one of the things that we saw here today is you are way more interesting than even your jiu-jitsu is. And your jiu-jitsu is good. So I think we're expecting bigger and bigger things from you. And with the team that you've got, I know that good things are in your future. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what happens there. And I'm very sorry for the F5 or attitude adjustment that I have to hit you with, considering you are heavy. So we might have to do an assist. And I can't promise you're going to land well. But at the very least, the sharpshooter is going to look sick as fuck.
Oh, dude, that would be nasty. Honestly, you probably can't put me in the sharpshooter with this left leg.
Oh, that's okay.
It doesn't bend. I'm not joking. If you watch my guard, the left leg does not bend.
Oh, I thought that was like a challenge, but you were telling me like a physical, actual ailment I can't do.
No. I'm sure you could do it to like normal people.
I think the one thing that you don't understand about me is, as much as you talk trash, I will cheat. So if you really want to go down the Brown angle, the spirit of Eddie Guerrero is strong in me. So there's not a steel chair that won't make a nice amends with that leg. So it'll bend. But maybe I choose a different move. Because now that you mentioned that, I was like, oh shit, yeah, that would have hurt the kid. Okay, I'll figure out a different one. Yeah. It's probably going to be a crippler crossface of something there.
The kid with cancer gonna hit a sharpshooter with.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh my god, dude. Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I'm gonna try and kill the Make-A-Wish kid that lived too long. Yeah, okay, that's really my problem here.
Honestly, I was so close to you, like asking for a Make-A-Wish when I was getting cancer treatment just to meet John Cena. Like I was that.
You should have. He's made so many. He would have just funneled you in. It would have just been a regular Tuesday to him.
I would have died unhappy.
All right. Well, Steve, we're going to put a pin on this part of the conversation. If you want to see one of the opponents that Steve respected the most, check out our premium. You can find that at hi.page/grappling hour. Look for our premium subscriptions. But for now, I say goodbye to Steve. It is a pleasure to finally get to meet you, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me.
Perfect.